How are you, everybody who is watching this video? Very happy to be with you. My name is Olenjolai TAYAI single. I'm from Tanzania. This is our national flag, eastern of the African continents. I'm very happy to have you today, and I have a good news. Whether you're an international viewer or a national viewer, you have a good and fantastic moment, and you have to get prepared to be excited and to be transformed from one point to another point once that we be ending these programs of today. So firstly, I would like to welcome you into one of our online school, which is called Tanzania Online Ordinary Secondary School in square bracket Olenjolai. Simultaneously, because I will teach you also mathematics, I would like to take this moment to welcome you in one of our YouTube channels that's called Tanzania Online O-Level Secondary School in square bracket Olenjolai. So I know that you are possibly a Form 4 or you are not a Form 4 students or Form 4 or Class 12 students. I would like to welcome you from any country, from any continent, that whether from Tanzania or from Kenya or from Uganda or from maybe Zambia, from South Africa, from Zimbabwe. You're warmly welcome into this fantastic session when we are going to learn intensively about physics for the Form 4 or physics for the Class 12. So before I go into details on what I've prepared today for you, I would like to spend couples of the minutes just to remind you the vision that we have in Tanzania Online Ordinary Secondary School. So this is an assignment that God has given me and I have to do, and even a work I would like also to introduce to you, whether you're parents, you're guardians, maybe you're students of this level, whether you're a private student, we call private candidates, or you are school candidates, private candidates, those that are schooling at home. This is the good news for you. And this is the fantastic program for you that will assist you to master the subject of physics, chemistry, and basic mathematics. Whether you are a school candidates during the holidays, maybe during the school times that you are not allowed to use the telephone, but you can use the school computers with the connections of the internet to harvest all of this tools, because this I'm supplementing what you used to get in your formal educations. However, that this is full. This is the full programs. When I say full programs, that you get everything in those 3 subjects that we are teaching you. It's more than what you are required to learn. So that's the one point that you have to understand. So this is the vision that God has declared in your heart, has written in my heart, that I have an assignment to teach, to train, to incubate, to mentor, some group to mentor, to lead, and even that to encourage. Some students will be ready to take the classroom instructions in science subjects, I mean physics, chemistry, biology, agriculture, and the basic mathematics subjects or additional mathematics in all level, combined with the knowledge of Word of God from the Holy Bible in order to solve real life problems in our communities. When I say real life problems, means that those are the actual problems, not like a problems that I'm solving on a piece of paper, like the ones that I'll be doing in physics or in mathematics or in chemistry. I mean that those are the physical and tangible problems. And you know that why have you been sent to school? In order to get knowledge and go back to solve those problems. So it means that the visions has 3 parts. Number 1, you have to understand the classroom instructions that I will be giving you in these 3 departments. Possibly that later we'll add some other departments. But the second part, you have also to understand the knowledge from the Word of God, that the Holy Bible, which I'm going to teach you in the kingdoms, in the departments of the kingdoms of heavens, that will be learning also step to step. And the third part, to solve real life problems. So our main objective in these programs is to see our students, regardless whether maybe after several months or after a year or after some years, solving real life problems. That is our main objective in these programs. We have some specific objective. First, one of the specific objectives will make you love physics, will restore your love. Even if that we are teaching you for the first time, so you are in Form 4, possibly that we didn't teach you because these programs was not existing when you are in Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, or when you are in Class 9, Class 10, Class 12, Class 11. So you didn't enjoy this context because Tanzania Online Ordinary Secondary Schools was not existing by that time when you are in those classes. Don't worry, you will get everything concerning about ordinary secondary education. So another specific objective will make sure that you understand the classroom instructions in basic physics. But another specific objective, again, we have to understand that you understand or you get the knowledge from the Holy Bible that's called the Holy Bible. You get the knowledge from the Holy Bible, from the Word of God, from the Holy Bible. So now if you combine these two knowledge, believe me that you are going to solve even complex problems. Myself, who is teaching you, I'm a product of both areas. I'm a product of the classroom instructions in the ordinary secondary education, and also I'm a product of 40 of the Word of God. So I've been meditating the Word of God for, right now, it's more than 11 years. I cannot praise myself or boast myself. And remember that Olenjolai does not know everything about the Word of God, or about the physics, or about chemistry, or about the ordinary subjects, or ordinary subjects. I just know small portions of them. And because I know that small portions, I have a responsibility to teach others. That's all. I'm still learning physics here. I'm still learning chemistry for all level. I'm still learning basic mathematics for all level. I'm still learning the Word of God. But what I know, I've got a chance to know, I'm ready to teach others. That is all. Right? Also, another specific objective will be helping you to pass your continuous assessment, your midterm testing, your pre-mock exams. You know that now you are in the last year for ordinary secondary education. We'll be teaching you, we'll be helping you also to pass the pre-NET exams. You cannot, so that you should not run away from them. So we'll be doing great things in this online school. So the issue is stay focused. We need serious students. And I'd like to remind you quick of the weapons before we go into the today's sessions, which is session 2. The first weapons that you need in order for you to master physics for the form. I know that in our country, in Tanzania, physics, it seems like a hardest subject. Before even myself, that I was a student of ordinary secondary educations, more than 13 years ago. So that what happens? So there are some reasons, there are some common problems that Tanzanian students experience on learning physics, and I'll be solving and I'll be fixing each problems as long as the grace of God is going to help me. So the first weapons, you need the syllabus called the physics syllabus for ordinary secondary education from 1 to form 4, right? So in case you don't have this syllabus book, you should have it. You should have it. So you have to read the descriptions in this video in order to order it, and then you can ship in all the set ones regions. Again, you need at least 1 to 2 textbooks, as I've mentioned in session 00, right? General Introductions of Physics for the Form 4. So this is the one of the books that called the Physics from 3 and 4 students' books, and this will be prepared by the Tanzania Institute of Education. So you need at least this book. Also, we are selling, we are providing, we are not only teaching in Tanzania online ordinary secondary education, we are also providing materials for the students to master these subjects effectively. We have against the said weapons, which is the questions and answers. This is ordinary level physics review, problems and solution 2003, 2019. You can order this book, and then you can ship in any regions of Tanzania. So in all 31 regions, including Unguja and Pemba, you can order this book. Again, you have the 4 weapons. Again, you should have an exercise book. This is mine, so even yourself as a student, you should have an exercise book of any type or of any exercise. Again, you have the 5th weapons, which is scientific calculator. During our times when we are in Form 4, we are not allowed to use any scientific calculator. But nowadays, the good news is that you are allowed to use a scientific calculator. So also, in Tanzania online ordinary secondary schools, it means we have bought so many original scientific calculators so that we can sell to our students, and we can order it with a cheap price, and we can also ship it in your regions, faithful, and even, I believe me, that you will be enjoying all our products that you are providing. First of all, the teaching, the products of teaching, and also even the products of our materials that you are providing. Well, so now I think that you are aware of all the piece of information, relevant piece of information. I will keep on just insisting for those important information that you have to understand. So we are in departments of physics for all level, and the subject is physics for the Form 4, and then the main topic is wave. This is subtopic 1, introductions of waves, and this is session 2, the concepts of waves, which I'm going to teach you, and also this concepts are for the Form 4 or class 14, class 12. So get prepared to enjoy the beauty of physics, right? Because physics is beautiful. Okay, so let me begin to link today's session with the previous session. So this is quick review. We have 3 sessions now of wave, relating to wave, 2 sessions, which you can find them in our YouTube channels and you have to go through them. So you have session 0, 0. You have also session 0, 1. Session 0, 0 is general introductions of all the topics of physics for the Form 4. So let me, for the session, just to review what we have discussed in session 1. So for the session 1, it's titled as General Introductions of what? Of wave, right? So in this session, first of all, I shared with you the big picture of physics. Where do you get physics for the Form 4 subject? Where does it come from? So we discussed it from primary education to O-level educations because we are still in O-level. And then against that, I presented it to you about topics, about how many chapters of physics is Form 4. We have 7 chapters. So I presented to you about 7 chapters. 7 chapters of what? Of physics. I mentioned the 7 chapters of physics Form 4 and explained them briefly. Right? Again, we went to focus on the wave. So we took now our first topic, which is on waves. So under waves, we have something we call the subtopics. So we have some subtopics of waves. And these subtopics of waves, we have 7 subtopics according to the syllabus of United Republic of Tanzania. 7 subtopics of waves. And then we find that each subtopic has something called the specific objectives, right? So specific objectives that the students have to achieve at the end of that of learning that subtopic. And then we ended our session and I left the homework at what is wave. We ended our sessions with what mentioning the concept that we are going to cover, concepts of what? Of waves. Okay, what are the concepts we are going to cover in wave? So that's all about the business that we did previously. Today in this session 2, we would like to begin now to get in details and also answer the homework about the concepts of waves. Say waves. Okay? And then we are going to have a very interesting moment. So let us begin. So let me just write against the word wave. Okay? And let us begin with the first question. What is the meaning of wave? So you can pause a video and ask yourself what the meaning of wave. And also, or some of the references they can say that define wave. Define wave. So in any way, the issues you have to answer the question. So what is wave? Before even we learn about types of waves, technologies of waves, what the meanings of wave. So there are so many definitions according to different sources, but I prefer this array definitions which I'm going to present to you right now. So wave. Say wave. Wave. We say that wave in physics, right? What the means of wave in physics. So we say that wave is a disturbance. This is the disturbance that travels through either a medium or vacuum. Okay, or vacuum, and then we say that without this transfer takes place, without transfer of what? The transfer of the medium. The transfer of the medium itself. So that's the meanings of wave. So wave is a distance that travels. It's a disturbance, not distance. It's a disturbance that travels through what? through either medium or vacuum without transfer of the medium itself. So for example, if this is the medium which is transferring the wave, right, which allowing the disturbance to be transferred, the medium itself is not transferring, right? So that's the meaning one of the definitions of the wave. So first of all, this is the disturbance. So wave is all about disturbance. And this disturbance travels from one point to another point. So either medium or a vacuum, and from this definition, we get 2 times of 40 of waves without times of 40 of medium itself. What does it mean? Let me explain a little bit. So you have point A, also you have point B. So here suppose that we want to transfer the disturbance from point A to point B. So suppose that the medium here, the medium is what? Is air. Like my sound now is being transmitted to the microphone through air. So the medium is what? Is air. And hence now we are transferring what? Our waves. So when we transfer this wave from point A to point B, the medium itself, which is, let's say, air droplets, are not traveling. So these are what? So these mediums, we say that these are air particles. So these air particles are not transferring. So that the meaning is 40 of wave. Or some of the reference defines this terminology of wave as wave. Wave is a disturbance. Okay? Wave is a disturbance. Is a disturbance. Not there. Is a disturbance in a medium. In a medium that carries energy. That carries energy without a net movement. Without a net movement of particles. This is another definition of 40 of wave. Say wave. Okay, so wave is a disturbance. So this is what? A disturbance. In a medium, how is this source? That carries energy. So it means that a wave has a property of carrying what? Energy. Carrying energy, right? Without a net movement of 40 of the particles that carries that energy. So a medium is just allowing the energy carried by the wave from one point to another point. That's the medium. That's what the medium does, right? So through these concepts now, we find that the particles of the mediums will not transfer. It's just like in this way, this demonstration. Or we have another second definition. Some of the sources also state that wave as wave, is a propagation. Is a propagation of what? Is a propagating, not propagation. Is a propagating dynamic disturbance. Dynamic disturbance. Okay, is a propagating dynamic disturbance. Change from equilibrium. Change from equilibrium. Change from equilibrium of one or more quantity. One or more quantities. One or more quantities from one location to another location. From one location to another location. So wave is a propagation dynamic disturbance. Propagation dynamic disturbance. This is the propagation dynamic disturbance. Change from equilibrium of one or more quantities from what? From one location to another location. That's the definitions of what? Of wave. You can use any of these three definitions once you be asked to define wave. And these are international definitions. Okay, so wave is a propagating. So this is propagating means that it's just still the word that explains about transferring, propagating dynamic disturbance. That this disturbance is in dynamic, it's not a static disturbance. Change from equilibrium means that, for instance, myself, if I keep quiet, my mouse is in equilibrium. And then when I start speaking now, you find that my mouse is changing from equilibriums into dynamic. So one of example of wave is sound wave. The one I'm using right now to communicate to you this message of 40 of the wave. So that's the meaning. So of one, so you say that dynamic disturbance change from equilibriums of one or more quantities. So it can change more than one quantities, maybe frequency, wavelengths, that means of more than one quantities, or it can change only the pitch, right? And then from one location to another location, right? To another location. So for instance, myself, when I'm speaking, you find that my mouse is vibrating, right? So when it's vibrating, it means that you find, if I keep quiet, then you find that my lips are in a certain point, you say point A. And then when I start speaking, you find that my lips are vibrating to and fro. And such kinds of the movements of to and fro, that's how I can produce this audible sound. Okay? Do you understand? Tell me in the comment sections if you understand what am I teaching you today. Because I want you to understand. I will never teach you to claim. I will teach you how you can understand the stuff and use them to solve real life problems. So remember that wave as a wave, this is a real life subject. When I call it real life subjects, I mean that we are always producing waves. We are always using waves. We always need waves in order for us to achieve some of the issues. So that's the definitions of 40 of waves. Then let me take you into the real life environments where you are familiar with, right? And this part now, I would like to give you real life examples. I call them real life examples. So this part is called real life examples. Real life examples of 40 of wave. Real life examples of waves. Real life examples of waves. So the fundamental question which you can be asked as question 2, what mention or describe, maybe you can find and describe at least 5 real life examples of waves. Right? Okay, so we have so many types of waves, and there are so many real life examples of waves. So let us begin with the first one. The first one, we say that are vibrations of musical instrument. Vibration of musical instrument, of stringed musical instrument. Stringed musical instruments. So this is the first real life examples. Do you used to listen music? Yeah. Do you use even to hear music even if you don't concentrate? Yes. So in music, in the context of the music, it composes so many elements sometimes to produce a music. But mainly we have a vocal or instrument, or both of them, combinations of vocal and instruments. So the first example here is I'm speaking that we can have, or once we are producing a music by using the instrument, especially that the vibrations of this stringed musical instruments. Okay, just the simple examples, because also you can have the wind or the wind instrument, wind musical instruments, right? Like a trumpet, like a saxophone. So I don't want to go into too much the advanced. I want to use examples which you have experienced them in your daily life. So we say vibrations of stringed musical instruments. That will give you some of the examples. So what do we say that? We say that once we want to produce a music by these stringed instruments, we have to transfer the disturbance. We have to cause disturbance, and that disturbance will be transferred, right? Which is sound wave. So you say that when we want to make music by using stringed musical instruments. Then we have to cause a disturbance on the strings. Produce clean, audible, or clean sound. Clean musical sound. So this is the point. So one of real life examples of wave is vibrations of the stringed musical instruments. Okay? It's the one of example. So we said that when we want to make music or produce music by using stringed musical instruments, then we have to cause a disturbance on the strings to produce clean musical sound. So it can cause a disturbance by using our hands, can cause a disturbance by using our mouths. So there are different ways that we can cause a disturbance. So let me give you examples, because I don't want to go into too much. The subject of the music, it's a real detail. It's another school. So examples of stringed musical instrument. Okay? And I will mention the simplest one. Musical instrument, right? Musical instruments are, the first one is called the guitar. So guitar, sometimes that some people they call it solo, etc., etc., etc. And you have acoustic guitar and the electric guitar. The second one is the piano. The piano itself, it has keys, right? It has keys that actually you have to push them down in order to make a music, or produce a music. But what happens inside the piano? The piano itself consisting kind of strings that, and once we press it, there's a hammer that is going to disturb the strings. Okay, so you have piano. Again, so you have violin. You have violin, so keep on meditating, ask yourself these questions, and you have to know that what do you expect? String the instruments. Again, you have violin. You see in music, especially that Western music. Then we have again violin, ukulele. We have again an instrument that's called ukulele. There are so many instruments, but I'm trying to mention those which are common. Okay, so it means that the disturbance on this instrument may be caused by so disturbance may be caused by fingers or a piece that we call the plectrum. So these are the sounds. So it means that once you hear music produced by the plectrum, not produced by the violins or a piano or ukulele, hence you have to understand that that is all about wave. So it means that you are applying wave in order to solve problems. Okay, so the aim of Tanzania Online Ordinary Secondary School is to make our classes real class. This is a guitar, one of example of the stringed instrument, right? So listen carefully because I want now to clarify. So you see, how many strings are there? 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the thicker strings, and as you go down, these are the thinner strings. So these strings, if they at equilibriums, no any transfer of energy, no any productions of wave, right? There's no any productions of wave. But once I'm going to cause a disturbance, then there's a transfer of energy, as we define that. Wave is a propagating dynamic disturbance, change from equilibrium. So now all of these strings are in equilibrium, right? Of one or more quantities from locations to another, from one location to another location, right? So what happens here? Okay, so it means that if I want to produce a particular music, right? This is a playground that I told you that you can use your fingers or you can use the playgrounds. Okay, so follow along, right? So for example, that I want to produce a music, right? So I have to strum. This is called strumming, right? So I have to disturb this string, but not just as I want. I can disturb this. I can disturb this we call them open strings, right? So here the sound. So that is where also I can disturb. And then I can disturb harmonic music or kinds of the yes, it means that to follow the rules and principles and the sequence of the music. So it means that I have to use my lefty fingers on just pushing some of the strings in order to use a particular key. So for instance, so this is just like a simple demonstrations. We'll be talking so much about the musical when we'll be reaching to the subtopic of the musical instruments about the guitar, because you know that this is kind of the interesting. I told you that the main objective of Tanzania online ordinary secondary schools is to see our students at solving real life problems. So and then that we have some problems, you know, that music is kind of the healing. So music has a different it has a great contributions in culture, in religious, in faith, right, in fellowship, and so it is powerful, right? So it means that you will take these classroom instructions now, and then you combine the knowledge of God, and then you come to this instrument, you are going to do great things. So stay focused, stay tuned, don't miss any sessions of ours, and then that when you reach into the musical instrument, we'll be doing great things and demonstrating a lot. So may God bless you about that. You enjoy the beauty of guitar. Okay? So this is the one of the stringed instrument. Okay? Example of the string instrument. Okay, so now let us continue with, as examples of 40 of musical or 40 of verbs. So the second real life example is human sounds. That's the instrumental sound, for example. Human sound. The sound that right now, human sound. So the sound that Olenjolai is producing in order to teach you wave, human sound. This is a very good example of wave, right? So you say that, how do we produce the sounds? So you say that a human being produce sound, audible sound, right? Produce audible sound between, first of all, you don't know this, but I want this to tell you 20 Hz and the 20 kilohertz, right? By what? By compression and the rarefaction. So compression and rarefaction for 40 of air nearby the mouse. So if I don't compress, means if the air between me and the microphone cannot compress and relax, then I cannot produce a sound. If, for example, you take all the entire air in this room, or in this room, or in this classroom, and even if I speak closely to the microphone, you won't hear anything. Why? Because this is mechanical wave. Sound wave need medium for transmissions, because you say that a wave can be transmitted through the mediums or through the vacuum, right? So this is a good example of wave. So when we are learning wave, my dear student, we are learning about human sound. We are learning about animal sounds. So we are learning about any kinds of the sound that you know. So that's the meaning. So it means that in wave really we are learning, when we start about wave, we are learning about what God is creativity. Because God is the one who has created everything. So that is the second example. So what happens? So for instance, that this is the person, right? This is the person. Okay? This is the person. So this is the person who is here. Okay? So you find that, and this is the mouse, right? So here the mouse. So you find that what happens? So this is what we call decompression. So we have compression. So the air nearby the mouse is compressed, means that these are the creations of the pressure. And then this is what we call rarefaction. So this is compression, and this is what rarefaction. Okay? And then it's possible that the air, the sound is transmitted from point A to point B and to be out. Okay? The steady real-life example of wave, right? Steady real-life example of wave is, we say that vibrations of 40 of springs. Vibrations of 40. Vibration of springs, not strings. Here we'll be discussing strings. These are springs. And you see that we are going to learn them. Vibrations of 40 of springs. Vibrations of springs. Okay? Vibrations of springs. So we say that when compressional force is applied, right, applied on the string, then the string is compressed. When the compressional force is released, so we say that then the internal restoring force. You learn these forces in form. Restoring force push the spring back to its sorting, the spring back to its equilibrium position. So it's just like this. So compressional force, you push the string like this. And then if I release this force, then the strings restore itself. That is all about elastic energy. Called potential elastic energy. Okay. So where do we apply this compression and the compressions, we say, okay, called the compressions and restoring of the string in real life? This we apply them in vehicles for shock absorber. For instance, if you take a car or a boda and you find there is a road bumps, or there's maybe a pit, right? And then so what happens? It means that if the vehicle, if the car or the bus or even the motorcycle, the boda or motorcycle contains the shock absorbers, the springs, then these springs are going to absorb the shock. Such kind of the sudden, either deep surface or up surface. And then for you won't feel any kinds of the impact, right? So that's the example, or that's the printing we have used. So I mean that in springs are used in as shock, say shock. So these are used as shock absorber. Shock absorber. Shock absorbers in vehicles. In vehicles. Example, car, buses, boda. For the international students, boda means motorcycle. It's commonly known in Tanzania, boda, etc. So what happens actually? Before you reach into the shock, or before your vehicle experiences the shock, the spring is in this state. So this is a spring without a shock. When now you reach into the shock, right? So this spring is going to be compressed in order to absorb that shock. Okay? So this now is a spring absorbing the shock. And this is a spring which did not absorb the shock. So you see how we are playing with? So it means that, for example, if you release this process, the process that the car is just doing this, right? Absorbing the shock, right? The tire, it means that the springs are absorbing, the shock absorbers are absorbing the shock, like this. Or, for example, a motorcycle, boda absorbs like this one. That's tendency we call it a wave, because the energy is being transferred through the medium. So which medium? It is a spring. So which energy is transferred? Because there is an impact. It means that the road surface, or maybe the way that you are passing by is rough at that state, whether that it contains a small pit acting like a small valley, or it contains maybe a small bumps act like a small mountain, right? So that's how we transfer energy. So you see that now, with this shock absorber, you find that the springs, or the knowledge of wave, has been used for the vehicle itself to absorb that shock, and not the passenger on the motorcycle or on the car, on the bus, who is going to experience. So the passenger is going just to experience kinds of up and down movement, which in physics we call it to and fro movement. Okay, so that's the steady example, steady real life example of wave. I'm about to finish this session. Okay, now leave the homework for you, so stay focused. I believe that you're enjoying the beauty of physics. Again, in case that you feel from your heart that you want to offer God free willing thanksgiving, right? For these programs that He has brought in your house. At any time you can learn these contents. They are very worth contents. You are learning them free right now, so that you can offer your free willing thanksgiving, so that you can support this program. And we have to make sure that more than 400 videos of ordinary secondary educations will be in air, so that the present and future generations will deliver them, right? At any times and anywhere. So you can send your free will thanksgiving. That's called is on this number 0759745331. So hence from there you'll enjoy the beauty of physics. So I have again the first example, first real life example of 40. First real life examples of waves. Against the first real life examples, we say that you can experience waves in ripples on the surface of waters. On the surface of water, right? On the surface of water. Say ripples on the surface of waters. Ripples on the surface of water. So you say that when disturbance when disturbance is caused on the surface of water that is at equilibrium. Say then, water particles, begin to vibrate, right? That's what we call, that is called the what? Ripples, right? Ripples. Okay, ripples. So for instance, you can have maybe a river. You can do this experiment on your own. So this is the river. So it's flowing possibly from point A to point B. So this river is flowing in this direction. Right? So what happens? So when it's flowing, it can experience ripples, or even if it's not experienced. For example, if you dip a stone at this point, it can be a river or a dam. Maybe at your place there is no river, there's a dam or there's a pond. You can do this experiment. Just to go and throw a stone, small stone. And so what happens? So if you throw it here, what happens? So you find that the water particles nearby this place start vibrating, producing waves in this form, right? So in this form, surrounding waves. Okay, surrounding waves. So this is what we call it ripples. But this is in small, just to say that ripples are in lower state. In high, for example, if you are doing this experiment in oceans or sea, then you'll find that ripples will be formed extraordinary. So these ripples will be formed in a different way. Okay? So those are the examples of what. But again, you can experience, we have so many examples of wave in real life. For instance, also, we can have a real life example of wave, once that we hear an ambulance. We have cars special for emergency medical care, to take a patient from one point to another point. We call them ambulance, right? So we call them ambulance. So you say that the fifth example, just to answer the questions, we say that sound produced by ambulance. We see ambulance on roads when you have been going to school, or when you've been going to hospital, you've been going somewhere else, you see ambulance, those special, we call this medical cars for the emergency, right? So sound produced by the ambulance. So what these sounds, how these sounds, what do we observe? So you say that when an ambulance, say ambulance, when an ambulance approaches you, and this will learn these concepts when you take advanced in physics for the Form 5, in the concept that we call Doppler effect. Approaches you, and you say that the sound produced by this ambulance becomes louder, right? Louder. So this sound becomes louder. And when this ambulance passes you, so the ambulance passes you, right? And the ambulance passes you. Then we say that passes you. Its sound become little or become lower. Sound becomes lower in pitch. Okay? So this is the process that we say. For instance, if an ambulance is approaching you and you are standing here, a great scientist of the nation of United Republic of Tanzania is standing here, okay? And then we find that there's a sound that's produced here, right? So this sound is produced like this. So the pitch of sound when the ambulance is here, which is called the pitch 1, this one is not equal to the pitch that you hear at this point, pitch 2. So this ambulance is traveling in this way, producing the sound. So that sound from the ambulance is wave. It's a real example 40 of wave. So you have so many examples of real life examples of 40 of waves. I've just mentioned 5. You are not limited. You can find even for the good and senior students of Olenjolai, he or she is going to find for other 5 new real life examples of 40 of waves. So remember that in case you feel from your heart and offer God your free will in thanksgiving, don't hesitate yourself to offer it through this telephone number 0759 745331, and the registered name is Olenjolai TAYAI. And may God bless you abundantly for such kind of ministry. So now it's a time for the homework. This is homework 2, right? Homework 2, we say that we have a question here. Okay, we have a question. So what question do you have? This is the question that you have. What are the types of waves? So this question will prepare you for session 3. Because in session 3, I'm going to teach you types of waves. It depends. I might teach you types of waves, and then I'll teach about technologies, or I might begin teaching you terminology of what. But I think it's better, yes. So what are the types of waves? It's better if I follow the sequence. So we'll be learning possibly that terminology. So this is the end of session 2 of the concepts of wave. I believe that at this moment, you have understood what the means of wave, what are the real examples of wave. You understand now what are we going to learn in detail, or just not in detail, we are going to build the foundations of it. Because real that the concepts of wave is broad. So I would like to ask you that to make sure you subscribe into our YouTube channels so that you get notifications once we upload a new video, because we are going to upload more than 50 videos of physics for the Form 4. So we want you to harvest every kinds of the material that we are providing to you. Again, make sure that you share these contents with your classmates, with your young brothers, with your elder brothers who are in Form 4 possibly. And also you have to make sure that you read the descriptions below. In case you want to do the bank transactions to send your free will in thanksgiving, you can use the bank transactions. You can go the descriptions below there, and then you know the bank name. So I thank God who have created me in His image and likeness and saved me from all my lost way. And I thank God who have given me a gift of teaching you. And I thank God who have given me this big idea, which is the rational idea of teaching national and international students online via the internet. And I thank God who have given you opportunity to follow along this session with me. And may God bless you abundantly. And this is the time for you to enjoy physics. It's not the time for you to be stressed on how you are going to pass the subject of physics. Right now, you have to be focused on how you can use the knowledge of physics combined with the knowledge of Word of God to solve real life problems. So, are very happy to have you. I invite you in the next session, that will be session 3, which actually that it depends on what I'll be given. So whether I might teach you types of waves, or I might teach you technologies of waves in order for you to understand about frequency wavelengths, period, wave number. So you have some terminology which are wave speed, you have some terminology which are very important for you to master them as long as we continue, because we are going to use them frequently. So I invite you in the next 2 sessions, and make sure that you come with your colleague so that you can enjoy. In case you find that I'm teaching quickly in these programs or by using this platform, you can revise these videos several times as you can until the concepts are written in your subconscious mind. So you should not be stressed once again. And also you're allowed to pause and try the questions on your own and then come back. If you have any question concerning about today's session, to ask in the comment sections of this video, and I'll try my level best, and even some other students worldwide, they can answer your questions. Against this, once you do this homework, make sure that you submit your homework in the comment section. Use the comment sections effectively to ask your questions and to clarify, and even sometimes that maybe to clarify at a certain point in order to help some other students, because we are here to help each other. Remember that Olenjolai think differently, act differently, and work differently. And against that, remember that this point that Olenjolai does not know everything about physics or about ordinary secondary education. I just know small portions of it, but I'm ready to teach others what I know. So may God bless you. Welcome in session 3 of WAVE, so that you are going to enjoy what God has prepared for us to get at a piece of information. May God keep you and bless you until we meet.